Okay, so now we're having this question here, question 3. In 3.1, we are asked without the use of calculator to find the value of this two sums here, right? The difference of these two sums. So for us to do this, I want us to note something. We are having the sum 10 y is equals to 3, so it's 1 over y minus 2, right? And then minus the sum at the top is 10, y is equals to 3, and it's 1 over y minus 1, right? So for us to solve this, we can identify the sum or the entire number of terms for this portion here, right? We can just identify all of them because we are starting at y is equals to 3 and ending at 10, right? So it's not really a lot of terms, so we can just write down all of them. And the same applies with this part here. We can just write down all the terms and subtract with these ones here, right? So let's start that process. So what you're going to do is you're just going to say let's first start by solving this one here, right? And just identify all the terms that it has. So we have the sum of 10 y is equals to 3, 1 over y minus 2, right? So when y is equals to 3, we have 1 over 3 minus 2, right, which is equals to 1 over 1. When y is equals to 4, we have 1 over 4 minus 2, which is equals to 1 over 2. When y is equals to 5, we have 1 over 5 minus 2, which is equals to 1 over 3. So if you can check, even if we increase y is equals to 6, so it's 1 over 1, it's 1 over 1, 1 over 2, 1 over 3. So basically it's just going to go up until, let's just write everything so that you can see. So it's 1 over 6 minus 2, which is just going to be 1 over 4, right? Y is equals to 7, it's going to be 1 over 7 minus 2, which is 1 over 5. And y is equals to 8, so it's going to be 1 over 8 minus 2, which is 1 over 6. Y is equals to 9, 1 over 9 minus 2 is equals to 1 over 7. And y is equals to 10, which is 1 over 10 minus 2, which is 1 over 8. So we are done. We are done writing all the terms for this first sum, right? This first sum here. So let's just write down all the terms. So I'm just gonna put them inside a bracket, all these terms here. So we have 1 over 1 plus 1 over 2 plus 1 over 3 plus 1 over 4 plus 1 over 5 plus 1 over 6 plus 1 over 7 plus 1 over 8 plus 1 over 9, right? So these are the terms for the first sum. Let's now find the terms. Oh, sorry, it's 1 over 8. It ends at 1 over 8. Let me correct myself here. So it's 1 over 8, right? This is the last one. Cool. So these are the terms rather for the first sum. So now let's find the terms for the second sum. So the second sum, it also has 10, so y starts at 3 and it's 1 over y minus 1, right? So when y is equals to 3, we have 1 over 3 minus 1 is equals to 1 over 2. When y is equals to 4, we have 1 over 4 minus 1 is equals to 1 over 3. When y is equals to 5, we have 1 over 5 minus 1 is equals to 1 over 4. Y is equals to 6, we have 1 over 6 minus 1 is equals to 1 over 5. Y is equals to 7, we have 1 over 7 minus 1 is equals to 1 over 6. Y is equals to 8. We have 1 over 8 minus 1 is equals to 1 over 7. Y is equals to 9 is equals to 1 over 9 minus 1 equals to 1 over 8. Y is equals to 10. We have 1 over 10 minus 1 is equals to 1 over 9. So to write all these, we have 1 over 2 plus 1 over 3 plus 1 over 4 plus 1 over 5 plus 1 over 6 plus 1 over 7 plus 1 over 8 plus 1 over 9. So these are the terms for this sum here. Remember, the first sum that we got, we're going to subtract with this second sum. So this is what it means. Remember, we are saying the first sum of 10 y is equals to 3 and then 1 over y minus 1. We are subtracting this sum. Let me put a different color. Subtracting it with this second sum, 10 at the top, y is equals to 3, 1 over y. Okay, sorry, this is actually 2. And then this is minus 1. Right, so we are subtracting these two sums. So we already identified that all the terms from y is equals to 3 up until 10, right, for this part here and also for this one here. So let me write for these ones here. We found 1 over 1 plus 1 over 2 plus 1 over 3 plus 1 over 4 plus 1 over 5 plus 1 over 6 plus 1 over 7 plus 1 over 8. So these are all the terms that we found. And then it subtracts these terms here for this sum here. So it's started at 1 over 2 plus 1 over 3 plus 1 over 4 plus 1 over 5 plus 1 over 6 plus 1 over 7 plus 1 over 8 plus 1 over 9. Right, cool. So what I need you to look at here in this problem is that because we are subtracting this and this, right? So this where you see numbers that are common, you know very well that they are going to disappear because they are going to subtract each other. So this 1 over 2 will subtract this 1 over 2, so they go away. This 1 over 3 will subtract this 1 over 3, so they go away. 1 over 4 will subtract this 1 over 4, so they go away. And then 1 over 5 will subtract this 1 over 5, so they also go away. We have 1 over 6 subtracting 1 over 6, cancel out. 1 over 7 subtracting 1 over 7, so you also cancel out. 1 over 8 subtracting this 1 over 8, so you cancel out. So what remains? What remains is this 1 over 1, right, subtracted by 1 over 9, right, this 1 over 9 here. So we're just going to separate these two here to find a final answer of these problems. So it's just going to be 1 over 1 minus 1 over 9, which should give you an answer of 8 over 9. So this is the solution for this problem here. And now we're going to do 3.2, right? We are given a statement that reads as follows: a steel pavilion at a sports ground comprises of a series of 12 steps. So we're having 12 steps, of which the first 3 are shown in the diagram below. So the first 3 steps are shown in the diagram below. So each step is 5 meters wide and has a rise of 1 over 3, right, meters, and has a breadth of 2 over 3 meters as shown in the diagram. So if you can see the diagram there. And then the below statement says that the open side shaded on sketch. So this is the open side that is shaded, right, on each side of the pavilion. So on each side, so this is also another side where it's shaded, right, must be covered with metal sheets. So these sides must be covered with metal sheets. Calculate the area of metal sheet needed to cover both sides. So you need to calculate the area of these sides and the other side that is on the left hand side, right? So for us to calculate that, we need to take note of the following, that we are having 12 steps. Those are the total steps, right? Because here this would be the first step. If I were to highlight, this would be the first step, right? And this would be the second one, this would be the third one, just like that. So we're having a total of 12 steps, right? And another thing is that we are having the thread is 2/3. Thread of the steps is 2/3, and the rise is 1/3, right? So basically the area of the step, this part here, this portion here is 2/3, and this portion here is 1/3, right? And another thing, because the reason why we are focusing on this, remember, we want the side. So the side of the step is looking like this, like this. So we are interested in the side of the step, not necessarily this base here, right? Because we want to identify the area of the metal sheet that is going to cover the side. So the side consists of 1/3 and 2/3, right? So let me just write it nicely. Remember the steps, as I said, we are interested in the side, so it's gonna look something like this, the side of the steps, right? Where here it's 1/3 meters, here it's 2/3 meters, right? So we're interested in the side of this steps, right? So what's going to happen is this, because I'm interested in the side, so we're just going to add all 12 steps. This would be your first step, right? Step number 1, and then step number 2 is step number 1 and step number 2. So this would be number 1, this would be number 1 and number 1, right, which making number 2, right? And then this one here would be number 1, and number 1. So this is the first step, this is the first step, and another step, making it 2 steps. The first step, the second step, and the third step, right? So what we're going to do is, these are actually 12, right? So we're going to say, fine, our step is to find the area of the step. Our step is composed of 2 things. This height of 1/3 multiplied by 2/3, right? So this multiplied by this, right? And we having how many steps? Because this is only for one step. This is only for one step, right? How many steps do we have? We have 12 steps, so we need to indicate all 12 steps. So we're gonna say 1 plus 2 plus 3 steps, right? Why am I saying 1 plus 2 plus 3? Because this is 1, this is 2 because it's 1, 2, this is 3 because it's 1, 2, and at the top is 3, right? Up until you get to 12 steps. So plus 4 plus 5 plus 6 plus 7 plus 8 plus 9 plus 10 plus 11 plus 12. So these are your 12 steps. Remember, we are interested in 2 sides of the steps that are shaded, right? I even indicated that here. It's shaded on this side and also on that side. So we are interested in both sides. So what we're going to do is we're just going to multiply by 2 here, because we're interested in both sides, right? So this is for our step, and then this is for the number of steps that we have, and this stands for the sides, right? So our area, let me write it nicely. So our area of this metal sheet, area is equals to, so just gonna find the product of the whole thing here that I just did here using your calculator, and you should get something like 34.67 meters squared. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, suggestions, or comments, please write them in the comment section below. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more videos.